So by the end of this session, you're going to understand what copywriting is, how it's important, how you can use it, some exercising ideas to get started, and you'll basically have enough knowledge to be dangerous. My favorite definition of copywriting is it's not about writing, it's about problem solving. Ken sees bullets as key. So Ken McCarthy came up with that. Small, powerful phrases which turn a light bulb on in your prospect's mind. So it's not about going in there and writing big paragraphs. It's about, being able to meet someone at a party and saying, my company, talks about Bitcoin, and the person goes, why should I care? Well, it's the fastest growing currency in the world. If you'd invested $100 5 years ago, it'd be worth 10 million now. See, those sort of bullets, rather than going, well, blockchain is the first truly peer-to-peer experience which allows absolutely no disruption in the aggregation of data. Like, you just totally lose people. You need to get the bullets of what the benefits are. This is where this is probably the one space you could, in theory, double your money within 1 month. You couldn't say that about many other industries. So another classic bullet is something like the one food you never want to eat on an aeroplane. That's going to get clicks. So being able to have that is an absolutely key point. So you want to wound them with the bullet, show them the pain, and then how you can soothe that pain. Structure it so you're the only person who can solve the pain. So, if you're feeling forgotten now that you're over 50, then this is the Facebook group for you. If you feel sluggish and nutrition is to blame, but you have no idea how to start, well, you're going to love our Tailored for You diet program. So starting with the bullets and then being the person who solves that pain is the easiest way of getting interest. People hate pain more than they love solutions. So you want to give value in the ad, but always leave them wanting more. The job of the headline is to get them to read the subheading, which is why the headline is the single most important thing you'll ever write. The job of the subheading is to get them to read the first sentence of the copy. The first sentence job is to get them to the second sentence, and so on. So boring copy is death. A client hands, I think it was Dan Kennedy, here's the copy we think we should use. Dan takes one look at it and hands it back, and he says it won't work. And they say, you didn't read it, how do you know? He's like, the headline sucked. If the headline sucks, it doesn't matter how good the rest of the body is. So our psychology always scans for new, so be sure to include that as much as possible. So you never want to say, webinar coming up. You want to say, for the first time ever, I said to Kyle before we did this, for the first time ever, copywriting and content marketing in the same webinar. It's true, so it's not hype. Hype is when something's not true and you're just boasting it for the sake of it, rather than just saying it's a webinar. So you want to say, for the first time ever, we're doing X, or possibly for the last time ever, we don't plan to do another one ever again. But it's always good to have that excitement in whatever you're writing. Here's a few examples of copy that I like. Puns work really well. So this Lawn and Order is a play on Law and Order, and they got a lot of people sharing that on local social media, where it doesn't get that many clicks, but they're a local company, so that would be phenomenal for them, and then people would say, actually, I do need my lawn done. So this is another classic. Would you believe 13 records or tapes for $1? That would you believe is very conversational. People tend to want to switch to a formal tone as soon as they talk about business. So they can be having a normal conversation. They're like, and then the tone totally changes, and you totally lose your customer. So you want to always be conversational, and this always hints at the back end. So they obviously lose money to give you 13 tapes for $1, whenever this was. But they have a mailing list of people who are into music. So that's really what they're grabbing. They're really grabbing the addresses of people who are going to buy music in the future, which will far outstrip that original outlay. This is known to be one of the best direct response ads ever. They laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play, because it triggers so many responses in the prospect's head. Firstly, they laughed. Who? Why were they laughing? Why did you sit down at the piano? And then what happened when you started to play? So they have to jump into the copy to get it. To the amazement of all my friends, I strode confidently over to the piano and sat down. And it begins the story which ultimately leads into, how did he learn the story? Well, I'm going to show you how, and if you're interested, you can learn how to play an instrument too. The best viral site of our time, Viral Nova. I call it the best because it was one person sitting in a room writing articles, like collating things. He eventually had a couple of writers. There was one guy in a room. 2.5 years after he made that site, he sold it for $100 million cash. So it was a pure content play and nothing else. Yes, he had to work out how to buy traffic off Facebook, but he had this framed above his desk because I had to always remind him how to write a great headline with 4 bullets into it, which is they laughed, sat down at the piano, and went inside to play. So in just a few words, he managed to get lots and lots of trigger points, which you should always be hoping to do. This is a fairly typical internet marketing headline. Why do people still do this? Because it works. In internet marketing, one of the rules is if the text isn't black, it should be red and nothing else, never any other colors. So the headline is, watch how a regular guy went from barely scraping by to 6 figures a year with an automatic product launch every month. So it's very conversational and it pulls you in. And then it straight away deals with your objections. So something that's really good in writing sales copy is to list all of the classic ways someone would think, this works, but it won't work for me. So he's put straight up, he's not a big name guru. He had a low price product in a weird niche. He didn't have a big list. So that comes from really knowing their audience. They're probably starting out. They're probably selling a product that doesn't cost very much, and they don't have an email list. So straight away, all of those objections are dealt with. And then he starts going into numbers, and then they pulled you in from there because all of your objections they've met, and now you just have to see if the initial promise is kept. There's a lot coming in the public speaking webinar, but just know you need one joke every 7 minutes. This may or may not be a good idea in your copy as well, pending what your niche is. So the golden rules of copywriting. Firstly, you got to know your audience. And this bit I can't tell you. This will relate to what jokes you tell, whether you're serious or informal, what you can get away with saying. So that all comes from understanding your audience inside out. And if you don't, you need to go away and do that before you go back to do any of this copywriting stuff. Good copy is stolen rather than made up. So if you're just starting out, go and find what other people are doing and use that as a guide. Use the same language as your buyers. Always, always avoid technical language. In almost every niche, you lose people. It's always better to be clear rather than clever. Start at the end, so have a goal in mind. Why is this important? You don't write content for the sake of it. You always want to lead them to believe something. For instance, one of the tenets of your core story, whether it's you're a durable person, you're a generous person, so each story should have a theme around one of those. Translate all product services into benefits only. To a certain extent, what's in the box doesn't matter, which is quite a brave thing to say, but if you can just go all out on benefits, they will make themselves believe that the product's good enough. Write for scanners and readers. So some people only scan the document, so make sure there's bullet points and so on to catch their attention, but also people who are going to read every word from start to finish. It's easier to engage your readers with stories rather than stuff about your product. So always begin with a story about yourself, about your product, before you can get into why they're buying. Mention objections so they don't, just like in the previous example. Be bossy with your words and call to action. So yeah, you don't want to leave any room for confusion. You want to say, to start, click this button on the next page, put in your credit card, and you'll immediately receive a free gift. So walk them through. You cannot be clearer and firm enough. Get feedback from people you respect before going live. So if you have a few people who are in the space, it's a sort of ask people can't really say no to. Do you have 1 minute to read this and give me any immediate feedback? Always a good idea before you launch something. Copywriting is 10% what you write, 90% distribution. So Gary Vee made his career off Wine Library. It was 20 minutes a day creating the video and 4 hours trying to promote it and get shout outs from bigger channels. The hustle really was real, went back then for him. So always be aware of what your distribution channels are going to be before you start. Your job in the first line is to get into the second line, as mentioned. The curiosity gap still works. So leave a little something out of the title and have them click through to get it. So Snapchat becomes top marketing channel for innovative brands. It was a bad title. Brands have chosen their favorite social network, and it's not the one you think will get way more clicks. Rain hate on the nature of that if you want, but it works. And as long as you deliver on the promise, people don't mind. As such, use pattern disrupts to hold people's attention, swearing, mentioning sex, making up words, misspelling words, using emojis, slang, and so on. Write using a narrative voice in your head. This will help you seem more human and less robotic. So if it's not said exactly how you would say it out loud, cut it out. Paul Graham advises readers to read your post out loud. If it sounds false, change it. So I try and hold myself to the standard of my favorite authors, Bret Easton and Alice Bukowski. Would I be happy with them reading it? Like most advice about marketing, there are always exceptions. As such, don't believe outright. People have short attention spans. People only want video. There's a long list of exceptions to people who violate all these rules. So if it's true if it's true for you in copywriting. You know, Steph Godin generally is posted 2 paragraphs long. You know, you would think that that is ridiculous for a writer to do, but he's been doing it every day for 10 years and he's one of the biggest on the internet. You can never go wrong with a sales letter if you're trying to sell something, which I'm about to get into. Never write in neutral cliches that are used often, like, here's something we could all agree on. You want to use stuff like onwards, you know, as in to move the next paragraph forward, but try and avoid the cliches. If you're not writing with your target market in mind, whatever you're writing will be garbage. You need to know their thoughts, their fears, their needs before you start typing. The best advice I can give is do the opposite of what you think copywriting should be, as that tends to be very salesy. Be insanely humorous, dark, different, just, again, true to your personal brand, and it'll come across better. So we're about to get into the sales letter, which has made me so much money and is going to make you lots too if you follow it to the letter. Keep the next slide handy every time you're selling something or asking for money, or anytime you're selling anything. Believe me, this next slide is going to change the way you sell. So this is the sales letter format. Headline, subheadline, identify the problem, story, benefit, social proof, offer, guarantee, scarcity, call to action. So the two most important bits are the headline and the offer. People tend to look at these and then everything else to check it's legitimate. So I'm going to walk through the sales letter right now. So the headline is the most important part. You have to grab their curiosity. So, you know, they're likely scrolling through their Facebook feed when they see it. What can you say which is going to get them to convert? So one key is not to try and get them to convert in the headline. All you want for now is their attention leading to their interest. So clicking through on the ad to get to more and so on. But don't try and sell them immediately in the headline. You just want to seriously grab their headline. If the headline's no good, the rest of the copy doesn't matter. So don't be loud, don't lie, and don't be cheeky for the sake of it, but you do want to be making a claim that they're going to remember. How to or who else works really well. Use a subheading to introduce another big benefit. If the headline's outrageous, you might need to use this line to validate the claim. You can also hint at the offer if it's a good one. 5 legendary headlines which will work for any niche. How to and how to do X, or here's how I, or here's how we. Secrets of X revealed, or I've discovered the secrets of X if you want, and then carry on. Give me short time period and I'll give you desired outcome. So great in the beginning of a video sales letter. The lazy person, you know, whatever your person in the market is, way to desired outcome. So the lazy person's guide to being productive. Finally, you don't have to be something challenging to be desired result. Or if it's niche, you know, relationship counseling, how to improve your marriage without talking to your husband about it. Headline is important and subheadline is almost as important. So this introduces another big benefit. If the headline's outrageous, you may need to use this line to validate the claim. You can also hint at the offer if it's a good one. You want to identify the problem. So again, you should know this in your market, what's going to drive them the craziest. Then your story and credentials. So mine is going from welfare to building lots of businesses. Here's what I learned. And again, this is massively where your core story needs to come in. You look at that document, you see the stories that pop out at you, and then you add the main one or the main 1 or 2 in here. Then you want to have the benefits of the product or service you're selling. So it's fairly self-explanatory. Then the social proof. So what have you done in the past, which means people will agree with you. The ideal is testimonials from people who've used this exact product. Here comes the offer. This is the second most important part. So make sure this is clear, how much it is, what they're going to get, and how they can pay for it. So offer with a reason, open with a reason why you're making the offer. So for example, because I want to give back to the community, because I've been through what you're feeling right now. Show pictures where possible, even in ebook as a physical book outline. Show how the price pales in comparison to the overall value that we're getting. Value stacking is the practice of adding up the value of all the things you're selling in this package so that it seems massive. So for instance, in my continuity for traffic and copy, we had $2,000 worth of value that people are getting for $87 a month. Big it up, but don't overdo it. So never say anything you can't back up. Pile on the bonuses so the offer becomes irresistible and a no-brainer. So you can always find ebooks, webinars, or free events in real life that you can tack on to make the thing seem more valuable. Discuss the payment terms if applicable. So is it split pay? Did they get a free trial? Current furious, but the split pricing is the default and the upfront payment of a cheeky discount. People always want to split the payments where possible. Make your prospect feel almost stupid if they don't take your offer, and they shouldn't be able to say no. So the guarantee, this is a controversial one. A lot of people don't want to do this, but I find it's really important as a risk reversal to seal the deal. So you can say this isn't a sale, it's an intelligence test. So no one wants to be an idiot, so show them that this won't happen under any circumstance. So you want to offer as much of a guarantee is relevant to whatever it is you're selling. So generally speaking, if you try this product or service out and it doesn't work, then we will give you your money back. But you really want them to try it because people are lazy. So you don't want people who just buy it and don't do anything with it and then want a refund. So you always want them to at least try it. Also, double your money back works really well for increasing conversions. So generally speaking, when you offer a guaranteed number of extra sales you get, more than offsets anyone who's going to refund. So scarcity is underrated and should be inputted as a way of creating extra value. So the reason we have scarcity here is it encourages people to buy more. There's a limited number of places on the course. If you're only selling at this price for one day, if there is any reason you're not going to be able to give out as many as you'd like, to put that here. Finally, a call to action, which is summoning them to make the purchase. At the very end, you should always have a PS or a PPS and maybe even a PPPS. This is the third most important thing on the page, because if people are just scanning it, they're going to scroll right to the bottom and they're going to see this. So you should always have a PS, which could reinforce the guarantee, reinforce or restate the primary benefits to the customer, restate the scarcity, so this is a limited offer, make another call to action, maybe different to the main one, and if prospect only read the headline and PS, would it be enough? And that's a good test to do. Always break up your copy with fun pictures or headlines or memes. So a classic one is here. What's the first rule of online shopping? And then it's price low to high, if you're in the e-commerce space. So moving on to a core story. So if you've filled out the core story document I've sent out, you should all have it. Let us know if you don't, and we can send it to you. So I've been speaking to some of you about that this week. And some of you, like for instance, one person said, okay, my core story is about something my family has had problems with, but now I'm doing a business in it, so I don't think I can do that, or I feel comfortable doing it. And so the first thing I would say is it doesn't have to be your darkest moment. So the questions I sent you are wide enough to cover many of the things in your past, so you ultimately have to choose the ones that work for you. So also remember, once you've told this, you need to retell it over and over, adding new bits. So it's not just one Facebook post, it's retelling it in a different way, it's adding a new shade. Only 7% of people who are connected with you on Facebook will see your posts. So different people see it each time you post it, but don't just copy and paste it, always add new things. So getting back to things I could have had in my core story, for instance, that didn't. So I could have leaned into being a music journalist and hang out with bands. I could have leaned into working office jobs and hating it, growing up bored in the suburbs, leading to negative life choices, traveling to Australia and wanting to travel more, and then I was chained to full-time work after that. Not making it as a writer. You know, I did an audition for my favorite music magazine, Kerrang, and I didn't make it in, and then I didn't know what to do next about becoming a writer. So like, I barely talk about these 5 things, but any of these things, I could have made my main core story, and they would have all been powerful. So which is why, you know, that core story document has things about politics, about your family, about where you were brought up in the world, about the things you're interested in. All of these things could form your core story. I always find it's best to revert back to either your lowest moment or your top 5 achievements, because they tend to stand out and tend to be very unique to you. So when using your core story to create content from, use the memes of your audience. So these alone could be posts. So Paul Davis audience, you know, they laugh at the climate change isn't real idea. So you could get a lot of memes and jokes out of that and what that means for your product. Remember, if you don't shout yourself out, no one else will. So Suzanne, a PR journalist, had a book deal, opened the doors to the White House, got a client in with Michelle Obama. You know, these are amazing achievements that will make you believe that Suzanne knows what she's talking about, and it's going to create something amazing. So you can create that around that. This reminds me of the Time stories based on what's trending now. So for instance, maybe the White House did something and there's less minorities visiting the White House. Maybe a study finds that. So you could do a piece of copy that said, the White House is such a different place now. I remember when I was there, Michelle Obama, etc., etc. You know, another person in the group, Ross, he's worked with some massive brands, you know, and there could be a big story about a big brand. And then, you know, because having worked with some massive brands, one thing I've realized is they take a long time to deliver, but they always have a high quality level or something. So you have to shout yourself out. You need to be able to point out the good stuff you've done. You know, a lot of smart people are introverted, and it's my job to kind of beat that out of you and have you beating your own drum. You know, so many Silicon Valley startups are amazing at products, and some of you guys listening to this, you're great at creating products or creating services or working with clients, but the sales and marketing piece you guys don't have. So it makes it so much easier if people come to you rather than you to them, which is the whole point of this entire session. Talking about your past is an amazing way of connecting people. So James Sandberg felt really lost after school and took a lot of time to get himself together. You know, many people can relate to that. So rather than saying, hey, I'm this top agency guy who managed 100 people at Ogilvy, it's like, yeah, great, but you know, I can't relate to that. But if you could say, you know, I didn't really feel like school was for me, and then took me ages to find a job. A lot of people can. So again, it's going vulnerable, going where you're uncomfortable, and coming up with copy that people can really relate to. So I just dropped this in because I really liked it. Just a great article I read. Kind of in the tech space, Why I Stopped Angel Investing and You Should Never Start by Tucker Max. So it starts with, I started angel investing by accident. Who accidentally invests thousands of dollars? Well, I did. I started investing in companies left and right. I became a huge cheerleader for angel investing. I wrote about how great it was. I recommend everyone do it and helped a bunch of people start. I was wrong. I have completely quit angel investing, and I'm telling you to never start. So investing is one of the most boring things in the world. You put money in a company, and with a bit of luck, in 5 years' time, you make more out of it. But notice how, because that's narrative driven, that is a completely gripping open to an article. So like I mentioned earlier, it's such a good idea to start with a story. And then he continues, angel investing as an activity is great. When the right people do it the right way, everyone wins. I'm not reversing my position on itself, but who should be doing it? And then he's done pretty much what I always do in my webinars, you might notice. By the end of this piece, my hope is that you'll understand 4 things. Why I stopped actively angel investing, why you should never start angel investing, who should be doing angel investing, and what you should do instead. And by the way, you might notice, now that I'm teaching you these methods for writing, you're going to start to see them everywhere, particularly in the business space, because these are classic things which have made people hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, we are all following formulas here because we know how to trigger people to read an article and to take action. So his article continues. I found that 80% of the writing about angel investing is total crap written by inexperienced amateurs who have never done it. That's not me. So that's a contrarian thing. You know, a lot of people like to play nice in the business space. So again, he's dragged your attention. Now comes the social proof element. From 2010 to 2014, I put $1.2 million of my own money into 80 companies. 36 were direct investments. You can see them here. The rest was invested through larger funds. I've done pretty well with my investments. Even though no return is real until the money's in the bank, a 5x return on my 1.2 million is guaranteed. And because of the internal rate of return is likely to go up, a 20x return is very much in play over the next 6 to 8 years. So now he's established himself as an authority using social proof in order to convince you that he knows what he's talking about, having told you that everyone else doesn't. And I did this at a conference last week in London. I didn't know anything to sell, so I just went all out and I said, yeah, most people in the marketing, content marketing, have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Here are some things they're going to tell you which are completely untrue. They're going to tell you this because they want to take your money. And like the whole room was laughing because they knew how true it was. So if you can establish yourself an authority, you can really do big things. So I just want to point out, I love that article. So now we're getting into content marketing, which is more action driven. So you should have a core story now. You should understand why copywriting is important, and you should be fired up to produce it. Now we're going to get into the more practical elements of it. So firstly, it is impossible to run a coaching or agency business without good content. So people like Dan Kennedy have to write 18 pages of content a day. Content is a major differentiator in undefined markets. So pretty much everyone listening to this is in a highly competitive, undefined market, such as marketing, you know, growth hacking, SEO, etc. With a system, it's easier to think. It's easier than you think to differentiate, but you must have a system. And today, you are getting nothing but systems. So, the golden rules of content marketing. It should be 4 things: entertaining, educational. Am I embarrassed to hit publish? Am I taking any chances? I got to admit, I cheated a bit on one of my biggest posts this year. I was a little bit drunk when I wrote it about actually going to bed with a real girl. Like, I hadn't actually written that, but yeah, it was like I wrote it, I published, but I just went straight to bed because I was like, shit, that's like such a major thing to say in public. But yeah, needless to say, the post went down a storm, one of the biggest I've ever published. And I still link it back to business. You know, in the context I used was, you know, I get told off for telling people they should work 12 hours a day and they should spend less time with family, friends, Netflix, you know, whatever it is they like doing the most, they should do less of. And I was like, but then the rewards are, you know, I'm in Serbia, having these crazy times, whatever. But yes, you should always be ticking these boxes: entertaining, educational. Am I embarrassed to hit publish? Am I taking any chances? So, you know, I'm known for these 3 words, but again, your content marketing needs to be scalable, repeatable, and predictable. Otherwise, you won't do it. You know, if you don't see clear results, if you don't get into a system, it won't happen. Good news for you, you're listening to me. I'm pretty good, and I'm going to show you what to do. So, as mentioned earlier, you've got to know your audience. Everything else I tell you won't matter if you get this bit wrong. Write something people want to read. If you don't want to read it, no one else will. Distribute it on your own channels and measure results. So, for instance, email list, Twitter, Medium, LinkedIn, Facebook, your Facebook groups, your Facebook page, and Quora. They're probably going to be more on there. They're the main ones I use. And we'll get to the ones I use and ones you can use, but distributing on your own channels, and I'm going to show you how today, is great because you can see what's working. Then there is another layer which is distributing on other people's channels. So using influencers, using PR, and getting people to share your ideas. This is key because it's well worth you creating relationships, because if influencers do shout you out, you're going to get a ton more traffic. So as ever, your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So mine are, generally speaking, to write 2 articles a day. I don't always hit it, but it's such a high bar that I tend to produce a hell of a lot of content. Make it part of your routine. It's really as simple as that. And my Sunday night strategy is coming up, which will mean everyone listening to this will be able to produce enough content. Just before I jump into sumo.com, if you are doing stuff on your own blog, this is a pop-up when someone scrolls their mouse and is about to leave. They get this pop-up where you put your email address in, and then you can grab their email. As ever, if you're doing something free, you want to offer them an ebook that solves their one problem. And we've got a whole week coming up on ebooks and how to launch an ebook. It's coming up maybe next week, maybe the week after. I'm not sure which. Sumo also has a great sharing widget, and this is free, requires no code, and sits on WordPress. You don't need to win an Academy Award at the very start. 1 in 5 good posts is all you need. To be known as a good blogger or good content producer. You just need one hit, and then people will say that you're good. But the only way you get better and get towards that one hit is by producing a lot. Work on your gut instincts. You've got to know your user and then add on strategy and analytics, but you should really know what they're into. Pour more resources into the channels that work. So for me, very quickly, I found my Facebook group had the most responses. That doesn't mean that will be the same for you. Could be Instagram, could be something else, but find your channel and then double your time into it. Don't be illiterate. This stuff is ignorable in 2017. Even 5 years ago, content marketing was, an additional strategy you could do. Now it's a baseline. Even the likes of Gary Vaynerchuk have said free content is way more important to me than paid. I put more time and effort into producing it than I do pushing it out. And one of my mentors works and invests with him and has backed up that claim is true. Organic content, it's not going anywhere. You don't really get to ignore it anymore. It's like saying, I don't do social media. People just don't say that anymore. Even 2 years ago, people were saying, I don't do social media. Even they have fallen on board. Content marketing is next. So writing the damn thing. For whatever industry, start by identifying the problems of the audience of the story you're writing for. That's the easiest way to get their attention. Not aspiration, not motivation. Those things are good, and I do them from time to time. But really, it has to be the problems, and write with passion. So another way of finding, in a data-driven way, what are your people searching for, and what has had the most in terms of searches and social share is BuzzSumo. Anyone watching this live, throw your niche at me. What I'm going to do here is analyze what content performs great for any topic or competitor. I actually have a BuzzSumo account, but I forget the login. So BuzzSumo is a little pricey, but it is phenomenal for delivering data-driven results on what to write about. Yeah. All right, so let's say your domain is fitness. Damn. You may need to start a free trial.
He says recruitment. He's in the recruitment industry.
I'm just creating a dummy account right now.
Chris.
In order to verify you're a real person, please connect your Facebook account. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
And then Suzanne is talking about her industry, the aging, cooperative living, online dating, seniors, and menopause. And then Tatiana is saying art. So you got art recruitment and online dating.
Okay.
Lead gen from Simon. You got 4 to pick from.
Okay, cool. So let's start with menopause. So you can see on this screen right here what got the most Facebook engagements, what got the most LinkedIn shares, what got the most Twitter shares, etc. I'd say generally you're looking for Facebook because in theory, if you put this out and you can put it to a similar audience as the people who wrote it, you should get tons of traffic, particularly if you're doing paid. And by the way, paid, you don't have to put that much in. People think you need to put hundreds. You can boost posts for $5 or $10. and get significant clicks. It's not as simple as that, but nevertheless, so for instance, this article here, scientists claim to reverse menopause. So this would be a jumping off point. If you could reverse or stop menopause, would you? 15 symptoms to expect when menopause starts. What problems did y'all have with menopause? 10 things no one ever tells you at menopause, etc., etc. So there is tons and tons of articles that have had thousands and thousands of Facebook shares. So that's what you could do in that space. In the recruitment space, this is going to be a very, very generic answer, but nevertheless, the utter uselessness of job interviews. There's a jumping off point for a piece of content. What's the worst job interview any of you ever had? That would be a great community piece. This is very generic. Army recruitment exam paper leak. You could look at this and then have some of the toughest questions and then sort of use that as a fun jumping off point. Give me another one.
Lead gen, did you do?
No. So, lead generation. This again is pretty generic. Oddly enough, it's actually better to, okay, 9 lead gen mistakes marketers need to stop making. So you could use that as an article and then produce some content around that. Here are 5 lead generating ideas for your content marketing. How to generate leads online for free. So you could use this, and then you can also see how it works. And the advanced level of this is to look at how many Twitter shares it got. Give me another one.
Customer service.
He's abroad. Well, what's going to come up? Man finds dead worm in his cucumber. Tesco's response is brilliant. That's going to be something fun. There's a lot of stuff here about United Airlines. Their customer service leaves a lot to be desired.
Tatiana says art healing.
That's probably better. The world's worst airlines for customer service. So what you can do here is you can filter by what got the most Twitter shares, and you can export the people who shared that on Twitter. So if you're doing data-driven targeting, this is amazing, and I think I'll cover this in the automation week.
Gregory has a quick question. Intersection here. When you find an article on BuzzSumo, do you reshare it, repost it, or rewrite it?
I would rewrite it. I would use it as a jumping off point. You shouldn't be sharing external links to other people's stuff, so I would do that.
Now, just as another point, like I would bring up too, in the building of traffic and copy, you reshared a ton of shit from Reddit, but it was very particularly connected to what people needed to learn.
Yes.
Highly technical stuff to do around growth. How would you use BuzzSumo in a similar way, just to get them started?
Well, this whole section of this talk is to get you over, I don't know what to write about.
Okay, so this is inspiration.
Yeah. But also on the data-driven side, it's coming in automation, but certainly to validate, I'm thinking of writing about this, what's other people written about it. So it's kind of a research tool more than anything. But art can heal post-traumatic stress disorders, invisible wounds, battling cancer in Gaza, using art to heal. So how art can be a healing technique. And there's absolutely tons here. And I'm on the free plan,
Because you're looking at the numbers on the side too. You're looking at shares, right, to determine whether the content's valid.
Yeah.
The headline resonates with you, how long ago it got written. Yeah.
So there's so much data in here. And you guys just saw me sign up for this for free. So this is ready for any of y'all. I think it's a little bit pricey. It's like $100 a month to buy. So you could just do this through burner Facebook accounts or mobile numbers. But you should do this once, get a stack of ideas, and then that will do you for a few weeks or months. So I can go through this over and over, but you get the idea.
Skincare for me.
Skincare. No evidence. I mean, look at this. No evidence of aloe vera found in the aloe vera at Walmart and CVS. This is why I say Ming is sitting on a gold mine. If you can get the messaging right for your skincare that actually works brand, there's just so much here that you can do. So that would be a great article you could talk about. Again, Tati skincare products banned for mercury content 20,000 times over the limit. So this whole makeup brand, it's got open goals. It's a British phrase. What was the equivalent?
What's the phrase?
Open goal. In soccer, the goalkeeper comes out, and then you've got the whole goal in front of you, and you kick the ball in, right? It's harder with no goalkeeper.
Right.
This is a British phrase. But there's so many massive opportunities here.
Like a home run.
Yeah, like an easy home run. Yeah. So what happened to Melania Trump's caviar skincare line? There's probably some ideas in there. So there's so much you can do in here to get ideas. You won't run out of ideas with this. So that's the first thing. This one is going to be over an hour today. I would normally get people to do this live, but I'm going to stuff this in the homework section. I want everyone to come up with 10 ideas using this site. Throw me another one, Kyle.
Other industry?
Just another keyword someone put in the comments.
Skincare, customer service, lead gen, recruitment, art healing, menopause, online dating. Come on.
All right, great. So this is a content idea generator, and the link is going to be in the slides for all of you. This is where you're going to get your first 10 to 20 ideas. A lot of you are sitting there thinking, oh, I still can't be able to come up with ideas. I know. We are all very lazy, but I like to give you things which mean you cannot possibly be lazy. So this is a idea generator. You just stick in whatever your niche is, try to be a bit broad, it won't work as well for very specific, and it's going to find them for you. How online dating once saved the world. Maybe it's helping more millennials have children. You could write an article on that. And you just hit refresh. 17 ideas you can steal from online dating. So in a business context, have an amazing opening picture, be able to communicate in a funny way. So it's like a fun adjective to change your title. People never get tired of hearing their own names. Use that here. Active verbs are a writer's best friend. But basically, you sit here all day. The online dating article of your dreams, which will give people what they actually want from online dating. How online dating can make you sick. Tinder is very bad for everyone's psychology, and we still all use it. So there's a lot to be said for the psychological effects of online dating. Why online dating is killing you. It's not natural as a human to use it, etc. 14 podcasts about online dating. So again, not about online dating. It could be anything, whatever your niche is. This is part of your homework to go here and come up with 10 to 20 ideas and send them to us. But does everyone get how this means you don't get to say I don't have ideas? Please jump in the comments and let me know if you're excited about this and if it's helpful, or if you have any questions. But yeah, this is it. It's going in the homework, super easy. Yet another blog topic generator on HubSpot. You can go and use this as well. Pretty much the same sort of thing, but a bit broader. But this will help you come up with ideas. And this is the ultimate. So this is the expert level of what we just looked at. So you just looked at that, and then you were thinking, great, but I want a little more serious. You just tap your niche into here, and then you put your country here. Then you type in whatever it is. So again, let's say it is menopause. So this is going to find all of the things people are typing into Google to find your, to talk about your product. So if you're thinking, I want to make content about something, but I don't know where to start, this could be it. So you could split it into how, why, what, when, who. Who does menopause affect in the who? In the which antidepressant works for menopause? So you could write an articles on this. How menopause starts, how menopause affects sleep. I mean, I can't go through all of these, but you can see for whatever your niche, this is unlimited ideas. So a video strategy my friend Kyle taught me is go to a studio and then type in your keyword and then just find each one of these and talk for 2 minutes about each of them. And then, you know, cut each scene, maybe with a clap, and then you send that off to a virtual assistant or someone to send you 100 different videos, each of 2 minutes, and suddenly you have 100 days worth of YouTube and Facebook content just by you riffing on these questions. So this is an unbelievable bullet of value that you can come up with unlimited ideas for your niche. So, amazing. Yeah, so I'm not going to set a specific homework for this, but you guys should play with it. It's amazing. Okay, we are getting to the part of the systems. We're almost at the part of the systems. Actually, let me move this slide down. It can go a bit further on. Okay. Okay, so as we are walking through what to do in content, another part of creating great content is being able to make something readable. So what I want everyone to do as a homework, there's actually a lot of homeworks this week, but they're all quite fun. You know, it's being creative. It's not like picking up the phone and selling to someone. So Hemingway app will help your articles be more readable, which means more people will get through them, more people will share them, and so on. So the address is hemingwayapp.com. And what you want to do here is start I think you can do it from within the browser.
Yeah, you just click anywhere in that text.
Perfect. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to grade your work on readability, and you ideally want it to be as simple as possible. Famously, Donald Trump's stuff is so simple, a 4th grader could read it. Hillary Clinton was 8th grade, Obama was 10th grade. So you want to be as simple as possible. So what I'd like you guys to do is to grab one of your articles and then copy and paste it in, and then see how well it stacks up, because you can always do better. So I'm going to grab, let's say, a couple of my articles. Now, so you can see long sentences don't work, and people don't click, like people don't want to read that. So I've written this really, really long sentence that probably should be broken up. From being able to control your ego and not snap at your parents when they trigger you through something they say, to actually listening to the girl you fancy so you can ask a killer question which melts her heart, to running a company in such a way that you live a less stressful life. Like, there is no way I would talk to someone like that. So they have identified that's a super long sentence. So for instance, I could break it up into bullet points. So here are some advantages. Being able to control your ego and not snap at your parents when they trigger you through something they say. That would be the first one. Listening to the girl you fancy, you ask a killer question which melts her heart. It's going to be the second one. Running a company in such a way that you live a stressful life. You know, so there is 1, 2, 3, which is going to be a hell of a lot more readable. You know, in an ideal world, you should do this before you write every article. I don't have too much on here, which means I'm quite good. But yeah. So if the sentences are hard to read, it shows up. If there's a passive voice, if yeah, be bold, don't hedge. So there's lots you can improve in here. So I guess part of your homework is to put your articles through here and learn about how to write. I promise you I just picked an article from random off my notes, but I've scored a grade 4, which is good, which I'm happy with. But in an ideal world, I get it down to like grade 2. But you can see how I practice what I preach in terms of small paragraphs, lots of small sentences, you know, the keys to great writing. So that is another part of the homework. So getting back to what we're working on, the introduction works well if it starts in the middle of an interesting story or an amazing fact. When he leaned across the table and told me my company was doomed. Make them forget what they're doing and they have to read. Once you hook them, you can slow down, write simple sentences, keep your paragraphs short. Don't go crazy with links to stuff. You don't need to link to prove Google is the biggest search engine in the world. Unless you're saying something outrageous, don't link to other people's stuff. Just link to your articles so that when people tab up, you get 4 of your own articles opening. StockSnap is a great way of finding free photos, and Pexels too. Pexels is an unbelievable aggregator of free photos that require no attribution. You just go there and take them. Unbelievable. So here comes the choo-choo train. You always have a call to action at the end of every article. So on Facebook, mine's normally comment what you think, because comments are higher ranked in the algorithm than likes, believe it or not. Likes work well, but comments really drive engagement. So you want to say, follow me on Twitter, or join our email list, or download our app, whatever your call to action is at the end of every article. How to get your content seen, so things like social media, social news, content marketing, SEO, and email. Again, this depends on your niche, very much which ones you choose. I don't really do any SEO, just about do content marketing, kind of do email, but I'm massive on social media. So I don't do a lot of grey hat stuff in this course, mainly because a lot of it just doesn't work. But for many of you, there could be a situation where you finally get a chance to be featured on Forbes or to write for a big company, and maybe you want to help it along a little bit and you want to work with them again. This is a website where you can buy social signals. So for 20 bucks, you can buy 300 Facebook, Twitter, and Google shares. So if you're looking at a small blog that doesn't get much traffic, they're going to be amazed by this and they're going to want you to re-up on the site. And then the idea being, because they see a lot of traffic, they feature you on their front page, and it actually does get the traffic, and it actually is legit, does work. So like I say, this is like a super extension of, if the title's no good, it doesn't matter what's in the article. If Huffington Post don't feature you on the front page of the section, it's probably not worth anything anyway. I know some of the biggest people in the space are doing this. And sadly, about my job, I know the best people in the space. Almost all of them are cheating. Kyle has half agreed with me.
They have cheat, and they have secret sauces.
Yeah, they do all have a secret sauce. So building sub-sites. This is quite a cool one, particularly if you have a tech product. Building like a sub-site, like that one I just showed you with the article generator, that's trying to get traffic into something else. HubSpot, they want to get your email, that's why they have their generator. So building a sub-site around something interesting is a great way of acquiring leads. So this is Launch Sky, and they build apps, and they help apps get better. So they created a site that was a bit like Product Hunt. Pitch your app idea to a professional crowd. So give us your app idea and you'll get feedback from our community, which was probably just them in their office. I mean, it might have grown a little bit, but it was basically them in their office. But now they had a steady stream of leads of people who had just launched an app. Oh, also we just noticed, you could do some App Store optimization. Our company does that. So that's a really cool idea. Emojis work really well. Everyone should be using them. No one expects to see an emoji in an email title. This is probably the last year where that's the case before they're completely played out. GIFs are great. I would use reaction GIFs to find a GIF. If someone in the Facebook thread wants to shout me a keyword, I'll see if I can find a GIF for it.
Charitable giving, TVC production.
Okay. So let's go for charity. So you're doing, what's the other one?
TVC production. Paul. Yeah, Paul Regan. He's doing the ghost writing, TV and commercial production writing.
Okay, so
creative director, film director.
Sure. So he would use this GIF. Writing is hard, but it doesn't need to be because I can do it for you, etc.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, this is a famous GIF of a guy throwing a typewriter. This would work. Every time I'm in a meeting, I'm pretending to write something down. So these are a little more generic, this site. So I am feeling excited. It is always going to get lots and lots of cool stuff. If you need specific GIFs, I would use giphy.com, but honestly, I would just go with the emotion. You know, if you're talking about frustration your customer has, this will work really well.
Ming is asking a technical question. How do you actually grab one of those GIFs? And
oh, sure. Right click on it, save image as, and it would automatically, at least on MacBook Pro, save it as a GIF. And then, how do I do this without you guys seeing my email? Let me log into one of my spoof emails. Okay, well, basically you can drag it into an email on Gmail.
Also, the buttons at the bottom there, right? Like going for specific platforms, you can click like the Facebook one, and I think it, or the Twitter one, it gives you like a share right inside here.
No, it's going to do it as an external link.
Oh, it's going to link it.
Yeah, just save it and then drag it in. Actually, I could log into my Facebook and do it. I don't know if it'll work though. What one did I just save? Okay, I love this GIF. And then drag it in, and then tweet. Yeah, so that I just sent to my 50,000 followers. So that will show up in your Twitter feed, and I think it'll autoplay. Yeah. Yeah. So just save it and then drag it across. This is a good one that's coming up in LinkedIn week. Every time we post a LinkedIn, our intern tags them in the LinkedIn editors. Just post my latest article on how to go from freelancer to CEO. Check it out. And then if they see that and I get featured on the Pulse,
LinkedIn
Pulse, yeah, it'll get shown to all the people. And giving this is an everlasting webinar. So SimilarWeb you use to see if it's worth writing on a blog. So you can see how much traffic a blog gets. So really, really awesome. If you need to create charts, use chartgo.com. So you can create a chart in 30 seconds. It's a really cool tool, and honestly, I used it when I was running my agency, and I had 5-figure a month clients. I was still using ChartGo. It kind of looks basic, but I love it. It was just so simple. I'm not necessarily a super technical person. That's why I have Kyle here.
Do you know that you can do GIFs inside of Facebook now?
Yeah, it's only come out this week.
Shut the front.
Okay, I'm not going to make you guys get buffer, but honestly,
You should.
It almost should be a homework. Because what I'm about to tell you, you're going to think is impossible, but Buffer is the only way I found to do it. So Buffer sends out all of your content on a schedule to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Google+, and LinkedIn all at the same time. It's a phenomenal piece of software. Like TweetDeck or Hootsuite, it's just better and easier to use. So you just put what times you want the post to go out and what days. So 13 times a day on Twitter, every day of the week, etc. And then it gives you really good analytics. So what got retweeted, what got favorite, what got clicked. And this is your first system. So we're coming to the end of the webinar where I'm only giving you systems now. So other of you have said we don't know what to write about. Now, I think I've already given you 3 systems in this webinar, but this is the ultimate system. That's it. All right, throw me out a niche again.
Suzanne wants GIFs from the 1970s.
No.
That's not a niche.
No. Not happening. There probably is a 1970s niche on Reddit, but be careful, it's not porn.
Covered.
Oh, any of the old ones, I'll re-put through.
Art healing.
Okay, art healing, healing from pain creatively is probably going to be a subreddit. I think acro yoga is going to have a lot of crossover. So basically, whatever your niche is, and acro yoga is a good one.
IT recruitment. That's a nice specific one. IT recruitment.
Okay. So what I like about this example is you just wouldn't think there'd be a community for acro yoga. But anyway, the system is you find your subreddit using the search in the top right bar like I just did. Then you're going to click top, and then all time. So from here, you'll be able to see the top posts. Amazing one-handed bird lift.
Needless to say, you will have to sort some.
Yeah. So you will find the top posts in the history of the subreddit. So things like this. So you can say, you know, how do you get inspired to do acro yoga? How to pick up a girl. So like, if this was your niche, these are super specific posts that you just couldn't search Google for and find them. So why are we on Reddit and not Google? Because these have been upvoted to the top. So the reason you know they're going to work is because they already have. So if you don't have any idea where to start, I would go here. So in the recruitment niche, you could look up in r/jobs. Again, go to top, go to all, and you can see the type of things people talk about. So most upvoted of all time, I've slipped through the cracks. My company have not done anything for the past month. So you could do a post on, do you feel like you're, you know, wading water and not doing any work? Who else is sick of having to create a profile online just to apply for a job you're probably never going to hear back from? So that's a really common fear. That has had 2,000 upvotes, probably made the front page of the whole website. So if you if you're looking for things to write about, these are great. Finally have a new job, and it's because I was nice to the valet guy. That would be a nice story to retell. So here is an old resume from my grandfather. Does anyone else hate that work is the most dominating force in our lives? That's a conversation point. Interviews for minimum wage are the most ridiculous marathons of scrutiny and ass licking that's ever existed. You know, these are the things your target audience could be talking about. I faked a British accent and got the job. What now? You know, so many interesting things. So you can go broad, and if you really dive into it, there's all sorts of relevant subreddits for whatever it is you're talking about. So this is the way you know, when I was struggling for content because I was busy with my agency, you know, the key was I didn't want to slip. A lot of people who do content marketing, they slip up and they stop producing content. I didn't want to, so I got a lot of ideas from the relevant startup-related subreddits and used those as jumping off points for articles. So with this, you no longer have an excuse to say, I have no idea what to put out. So what I need you guys to do is create a system for copywriting. I want you to block off every Sunday night. So between, let's say, 9 p.m. and 12 p.m., you are going to have that as your content writing. So I try and write 21 articles in that session. So that's 3 a day. You don't have to go that high. You know, 1 a day or 2 a day could work. Use Reddit to come up with the ideas, and you're going to sit there and write all of them in one space. Now, you're going to think, I could do it throughout the week. You won't. There'll be real clients to deal with. There's always emergencies, email lists to send out to. So sit there and write all of them. You know, that's really all there is to it. I know it's going to sound like a steep learning curve, but if you use the ideas, just come up with 21 ideas, then fill them out of a paragraph each and go from there. So sometimes it takes me a little longer and I stay up a little later. But the point is, I would say on a Sunday, you never have any meetings. This is your time to sit down and produce all of your content. So, is everyone clear on that so far? Let me know in the Facebook groups, because now is about to become the real joy.
Ming has a question. When you say retell from those Reddits, how are you repackaging some of those niche ideas that you're seeing in Reddit?
Just using them as stories to tell. Just read on Reddit about the dangerous amount of mercury in this makeup. How often does anyone in this group actually check the ingredients and see if they're harmful? So you just use it as a jumping off point to talk about something new. You know, there's certain lists you can find on Reddit too that you could just post across. But yeah, really it's just finding inspiration and going for it. So far in this webinar, we've covered why you should write copy.
One more question.
Is it worth it to advertise on Reddit?
He wrote a guide to advertising on Reddit. Should he post it on Reddit?
Yeah, but I guess you'd have to possibly do a paid ad. It'd have to be really good, or the community's going to savage it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
be ready for that feedback.
Yeah. I advertised once on Reddit for Planet ID and I never ever returned. It was savage.
Quick question about the homework. How long should each of those 21 articles be?
As short as one sentence or as long as you want.
Okay.
Like Seth Godin gets away with unbelievably short articles.
Yeah, it does.
So far you know why you should produce copy. You know how to use your core story to produce unique content no one else can produce. You know how to find ideas for stuff around what your audience likes based on Reddit. You know how to come up with unique ideas using the systems I have, and you know when you're going to write them, which is on a Sunday night. Right? You have everything you need in front of you. I have given you a 6-course buffet to produce this beautiful content that's going to taste amazing and your house guests are going to love you for. But what could we do to go from cooking the food to delivering it to the entire neighborhood? Well, I introduced the waterfall system. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I was telling you guys to get interns. Some of you have done it, some of you haven't. On the next slide, you guys are going to get very excited about getting an intern if you haven't already. So what is the waterfall system? The waterfall system is taking one piece of content and redistributing it to 10 other places. And this is all completely automated in a way because your intern's going to do it. You never have to do it. So if you thought up to this point it's a lot of work, it is, but you're going to go from, let's say personal Facebook is your main place. Once you've posted it on there, you can then be posted to Facebook group, turned into a YouTube video, offering it to blogs as a guest article, post to...
They're confused about what the hell a waterfall system is. This is
Yeah, tell me about it. I guess I gave a bit of a hypey intro.
Yeah, Franco, chill out. This is it right here.
Yeah, it's all happening. So you can post to Medium collections. You can post to Quora or Reddit as a text post. You can post to LinkedIn Pulse. The point is you're taking one piece of content and giving it to, I don't know, 10 other places. It depends on your niche where to give, but here is how it works. So I really believe everyone listening to this call, you should write the original article. Some of you are going to try and outsource this, but particularly things about your core story, it just can't be outsourced. Nevertheless, if you want to outsource, use ProBlogger, find an intern, something. But the point, how I run it and how I think you guys should run it is you put it to your primary channel yourself. So for me, that's traffic and copy. That is the only place I ever post any content. So for you, it could be your blog first, or your personal Facebook, or your Medium. And then you're going to put it in a shared Google folder for your intern to redistribute. And I'm going to do a live demo of that. So you're going to create a new folder. So let's call it content for redistribution. Create this folder, and then you can create files in this folder. So I'm going to create a folder in the folder, general articles. Now that appears there. Then I'm going to go into the general articles folder and create a new article. So let's say I just posted this to traffic and copy. So this is posted from my Apple Note, by the way. I put all my, so here's the article. Basic things to get right if you're just getting started. Don't rip this off me, I haven't posted this live yet. But this is the article, and then it's finished. Let's say I just put it to traffic and copy, and I will, if possible, if you used an image, which you always should on Facebook, I would go ahead and throw in an image for that too. Let's say that's the image I used. The image you put to Facebook or whatever, use that. So now this is finished. And now in the folder we have this. So now let's say Kyle is doing my content distribution. He isn't. I got someone in the UK doing it. But I'm going to now share this folder with Kyle. Please put on other networks. And now he has access to that, and I put all of my articles in here. So now whoever's doing your content redistribution, which should be an intern, so I always recommend having one very good intern who's reliable. Like my intern has done this every single day for like the past 2 months, or as long as I've had him, and he hasn't missed a day because we pay him. You know, we could so easily have got a free person to do it, but you know, we believe that if you pay someone, they're going to do a better job. So, and I know that's a slightly privileged position to be in, and there's no shame in not paying someone because they're going to learn a hell of a lot as well. But yeah, so this is your folder, and then you have all of your articles in here, and then he grabs it from here, and then he puts it everywhere else. So this is how it works in my company. So I start by putting it on traffic and copy, and I put it in that folder. Then he puts it everywhere else. So these are only for me. So at 8 a.m., he's going to post an article to LinkedIn Pulse and tip off on Twitter. So remember that tweet I just showed you? I've deleted it. But, yeah, so we always tweet at them, and they get back to, you know, sometimes they get back to us, sometimes it gets featured on Pulse. At 10 a.m., he's going to post a video to my personal Facebook. At 4 p.m., he's going to post a Facebook note of an article from the Google Drive. Facebook notes, I just find they look beautiful. That's why I use them. And if any of you haven't posted a Facebook note before, just go to your Facebook. It's right here in the bottom left. Hopefully you can see my screen. Notes. And then write a note. That's it. And then put a photo there. Title. I wonder if that will work. No. Yeah, so I create a Facebook note because it looks really nice and it stands out in the feed, and I'm sure Facebook push it to people. But yeah, then he has to do 6 tweets per day from my Excel of articles. So I'm going to show you this now. So if you're using, for instance, Twitter, and you are sending out links, you should send out links on Twitter, you're going to create a database of articles to be posted and tweeted. And this is good for your business outright. And this document alone is amazing. So here's a list of all my short articles. So here's the link to where it can be found, and here is the text to go with it. So let's say I want to create a tweet. Again, your intern is going to be able to grab this and use it. So there it is, 15 exciting thoughts about running a Facebook group. And then, yeah, I would tweet that, and then there it is. But you can see how any intern could walk into this and create this. So if you have all of your articles here, so I split it into short articles, long articles. It's a good place to have all your lead magnets too. So your whole team can collect them from here. I've got personal stories, so this is where my core stories go. $17 to $37 products here, $49 to $99 products there. Again, so your whole team can have it in one place. Bonus and free gifts. But yeah, this is an amazing document, and it's included right here on this link. So he posts 1 article to Medium, 2 articles to my personal blog, and 5 answers to Quora each day. All you really need to know about Quora, your answers need to be over 1,000 words, and they'll rank. I've only just started doing Quora, so I can't report how effective it is. But this, remember, this is specific to me. Things I don't do, but I should, you know, I don't turn the bullets from my articles into Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat quote posts. That's a really good thing to do. I need to start doing more of that. I haven't, just partly because my audience isn't as much on the other platforms, but also just because of bandwidth. So I'm just like you guys, I don't have unlimited bandwidth. I got to focus on the right things. YouTube, I'm starting next week. I can do 1 video a day when I move to Los Angeles. General live streaming and updating about my life. It's a good idea to just say this is what I'm up to. You'll be amazed how much people care. But yeah, that's the main thing I do, and I'd recommend you guys all get that up and running, because you know, all of us have LinkedIn connections, all of us have Facebook connections. Twitter followers are coming in the social media weeks, but also things like being on Medium means when people Google you, they're going to find your articles. So here is another document that may be useful for your waterfall. So you put the name of the article here, and then you put this section is where you want to post the article to. So for me, it's all the different Facebook groups: Traffic and Copy, London Startup, Startup Europe, and then your personal blog, your LinkedIn, your Medium, personal Facebook, your other groups. So your intern will tick all of the boxes once one article has gone to 11 different places. So you can see how, if you can get all of these people who work for you, who intern for you, to distribute this, then there's like 10 new chances for you to get the articles seen. So now you can see why